All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rachah Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles, GMS, who rule well, and also honors and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word in sincerity and truth. All right, so today I wanted to talk about something I've been thinking about for a few days. We were talking about camp recently, about Esau's destruction, and it got brought up how some say that Esau's already been destroyed, and we even had talked to some Jehovah's Witnesses, and the topic of Edom came up. So apparently they were studying about Esau and Edom and whatnot, and we had told them to go into the book of Obadiah. So it's funny, we went back to them this past weekend, and we caught them again. They was like, yeah, we read the book of Obadiah. We wanted to know, we wanted you guys to know we was thinking about you through the week, and we went through Obadiah, and in so many words, he tried to disconnect what was being said in Obadiah. He tried to detach it from modern day. And one thing that he was a constant in this conversation, he kept saying that the scripture, no matter where it is, are stories that we can, how they, like, a story is told, like these little nursery rhymes and fairy tales that kids learn when they're young. There's always like a moral to the story, right? There's always like a tenet that you can learn from the story. And that's how this, I don't know, I can't speak for all Jehovah's Witnesses, I guess, but I'm pretty confident in saying that it's all of them. And they have this sentiment that the scripture should be used as, the moral of the story as opposed to what the story is. Because the story is a prophecy most times, and it is a precursor to what's going to happen today. It's telling you what's going to happen in this day and age, right? It's especially concerning Edom, right? So in regards to Edom being destroyed, there are subtle scriptures, and not to be honest, not quite so subtle, about what would happen once Edom was destroyed, or once Esau was destroyed. Esau, his whole existence and the things that it was said that he would do is directly connected with time and what would be going on in that time. You can't detach it from modern day. What you should do with prophecy, right? What should be the rule of thumb when you read prophecy, not to only take the moral, or you can take the moral from the story, right? But what should be first be taken is, okay, here's this prophecy, right? Now let me look in modern day and current events to see how those prophecies link, and to see if we're in that time. Matter of fact, let me see. Right. Oops. Let's see, Ephesians 5, and I'll start at 15. It says, "See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil." You see? So when you're redeeming the time, right? How you do that? You look at prophecy and you say, okay, this is what the prophecy said. These are the players, right? These are the nations. These are the what they would be doing, right? And then you look in modern day to see if those things are true, or you see, you know they're true if you have faith, but not to see if they're true, but to see if you're in that time, and we are in that time of Edom's destruction. We're directly connected to Edom's destruction, and his destruction. Let me say this: there are certain things that are going to. Let me see if I'm using this word right, because I want to use this word. I think is it? Yeah. So there are certain things that will ensue, right, after Esau's destruction, or that is connected to Esau's destruction. So I wanted to read them, and they're all scriptures that we've all read before, right? But I wanted to point it out because these people, right, they really don't want to be Edomites, right? Anything you read about Edom and Esau is bad, right? And like when you think about when you're a kid, right? You know, you got to be a weird little kid to be attached to the villain of the story. Like when you read comic books, most kids read comic books, and they attach themselves to the hero, right? Nobody wants to be the bad guy, right? You don't want to be the bad dude. You want to be the good dude in the story. So they've not only have they toiled to take on our heritage, right? But they've toiled to detach themselves from their own, because nothing but bad things is written about their own, right? So, no, of course, you know, I kind of always look for them to have some admission, like, yeah, you know, we're Edomites, so what? You know, I always look for them to have that mentality, but they're not gonna have that mentality because there's nothing good attached to being Esau. All right, so I want to get into these scriptures, and again, like I said, these are all things that we all know, but I want to talk about them anyway. So I want to go here. I think it's this one. Then go to let's see. I'm gonna go to 2nd Ezra 6 and 7. Right? Because alright, so like I got cut loose really quick. So this is 2nd Ezra 6 and 7. It says, then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Right? So Ezra is asking him, you know, what is going to be an indicator, right, of the times, and when it's going to change, when things are going to change, right? He says, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth, right? It says, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, right? So when you read something like that, right, that's not an insignificant saying. Esau is going to be the end of the world. So in my mind, I want to find out who Esau is. Right? And people always say that Esau was destroyed. And you got this guy, Vocab Malone. He used, I think it was 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter. And Okay, if that's the case, if Esau was destroyed, right, regardless of what scripture you want to use, if Esau was destroyed, then Jacob would be the beginning of it that followeth. So Jacob's rule would be synonymous with Esau's end. You see, this should be the world of Jacob, right? So let's go to some other scriptures, right? This is Isaiah. And something's telling me I did this topic before, but I think it's all right. Let's see where I want to start. Right, so let me start here. Isaiah 2:1. It says, "The word that Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it." Right? So if Esau was destroyed, right, Esau is the end, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. This should be happening. The Lord's house should be established in the top of the house, right? Ruling under his laws, statutes, and commandments. But is that happening? Can you look around the world today and see these things happening? No. Right? So it says, "And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem." Right? Is that happening? But this is the problem with people when they read the Bible. Right? They read it in compartments. Right? They read it. They subscribe to the things that they like, and they unsubscribe to the things that are hard to be understood. But that's not how the Bible works. Because what did the Lord say, right? Let me see. Open up another one of these. Right. This is Psalms 40:7. It says, "Then said I, Lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me." And one of the Elder Adama's favorite scriptures, bringing out the treasures of things new and old. Right? We gotta go through the whole book. We have to digest the whole roll, as it says. Okay? You can't just pick and choose things, because if we do, then we misunderstand the whole story. Right? If you watching a movie, you get up in the theater and you go use the bathroom. When you come back, what's the first thing you do? You say, "Well, what happened? What I miss?" Because the story ain't gonna sound right or go right. Shit, I went to go watch that movie Deadpool when it came out, the first one. I slept through the whole damn movie, and then woke up at the end and didn't know what happened. I said, who's this little white girl with all these powers? I didn't know what the fuck was going on in the movie, because I had missed pieces of it and parts of it, right? So you have to get the whole story. You can't discount these things. This is what is said is going to happen, right? When you go to Isaiah 60, right? I'll read a little bit of that. Right. When you go to Isaiah 60, it says, let me start at, I really could start at the top, but that's what I'm trying to get to the point here, so you can see some of these things. Right, I'll start at 4. It says, "Lift up thine eyes round about and see, all they gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy son shall come from far, and thy daughter shall be nursed at thy side. Then shalt thou see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because of the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee." You see, the multitude of camels shall cover thee. the dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. You see, so all these things are going to happen. This goes right along with the second chapter. So if Esau was destroyed, there's some things that we should be seeing here on this earth, right? Actually, let me go back to because I think, where did I leave off at? Check this out. Verse 4. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So even war should be done. But isn't America at war in the Middle East right now? With several different countries, right? Isn't the rumor of wars where the tension between Russia and America is heating up with their war games? So there wouldn't be no more if Esau was destroyed. This is what we would see. Really, what it's saying is you guys don't have any faith in the scriptures that you read. Really, I'm thinking of vocab alone when I'm going through this right now. You don't believe in the Bible. You believe in what you want to believe in, what suits you. And that's why that Jehovah's Witness said that we should take, the moral of the story. We should, take the lesson from the story. Yes, of course, you should take the lesson from the story. But the story is still saying something. The story is still saying, he said, should we take the kingdom in a sense of, we all being under one banner and under one love, or something along those lines. He said, or do you think of the kingdom as how Daniel explained it, where that final kingdom would come to destroy all the ones before it? And I said, well, they both go together. They both go together. Those stories aren't separate, right? The kingdom is for one people, right? One nation, and that kingdom is going to destroy all the kingdoms before it. What's wrong with that? That sounds good to me. What are you holding on to in this kingdom? So let me. I read all of them joints. All right, so I didn't read these, but I already had passed the point. Yeah, there's more I can go into, but I'm pressed for time here this morning. I'm gonna do a second part to this. Lord's will, I'm gonna do a second part to this tonight. All right, so with that, I'm gonna stop there and give all praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Rakal Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the GMS, who rule well, and honor and salutations to those of you who are the hopeful elect. With that, I say shalom.